Disclaimer: the views, opinions, and insinuations made by the host or guests do not reflect those of the show, the management, and the network. Viewer discretion is advised.
In his suppressed manuscript, Napoleon Hill wrote something that would have shocked the world in 1930. In Outwitting the Devil, he penned, "Every human being has within them an other self, and a version of themselves that holds the real power." But here's what Napoleon Hill never got to develop and share with the world. What does the other self actually look like when it is fully expressed? That's exactly what I have documented in Sacred Dissonance. The question, what if restlessness is actually a historical pattern that the world has seen before you? What if the same restlessness that you are feeling follows the exact pattern as history's greatest spiritual contributors? And what if recognizing your pattern could instantly clarify your entire journey from buried gifts to authentic calling? This is Master Coach A, and you are joining me for the 72-year cover-up expose. We are now on episode 3 of this 7-part series. After studying Napoleon Hill's suppressed insight about the other self, something that have kept me going in his work is the question that is crucially missing. Napoleon Hill helped countless recognize the other self. But his work ends there, and he never developed what comes after the recognition. The nagging question, what's next? What now? So one thing I did different is to really study other historical figures, spiritual, most of them I would call, and see the spiritual transformation that leads to transformative life that they live after encountering the other self. People who actually live from their authentic self and change the world doing it. What I've discovered with these 12 historical figures actually build the bridge that gaps between the work of Napoleon Hill and our contemporary setting. If you may recall, the gifts that you have been given, the gifts that you have received from birth, have been successfully buried, and you are part of the ceremonial burial. But there are figures, historical figures in history, that have experienced the same restlessness for their gifts that refuse to be buried. And their displacement in the world brought them to a space of seeking so that breakthrough finally happened. In this part, let's look into the sacred dissonance they have experienced that is actually not random. It's not a random struggle like what you are experiencing today. And following the same pattern these historical figures experience, you would finally discover your authentic expression, where maybe at this moment in time, it's a challenge yet. Heal got you to point of recognition, acceptance, and maybe now to the point of being curious about the other self. And this other self is awakening you to understand, to learn, and maybe to discover more about the 12 pathways presented in Sacred Dissonance. Let me give you 12 patterns documented properly, completely in Sacred Dissonance. But right now, let's look into the point where that transformation, that aha moment, or maybe that encounter with other self actually transpired with each of these 12 historical characters. Let's start with the literary contemplative Thomas Merton, From Success to Surrender. In his private journal, Merton wrote, "I am hollow, I am fake. The applause from my books drowns out the voice that's been whispering, 'This isn't you,' for years." 3 months later, it was said that he walked away from the literary fame toward monastic silence. So if achievement feels hollow, despite recognition, this might be the pattern that you are patting at this moment in time. There's the intellectual seeker, C.S. Lewis. When reasons opens to mystery, Lewis confided to his brother, "I've spent years building arguments against God, but something in me keeps arguing back. My rational mind says one thing, but my deepest self says another. I am tired of fighting myself." That internal conversation led to his reluctant conversion. If you are one person and you are drawn to mystery despite rational training, this might be your pattern. Let's look into the academic mystic Simon Weil. Beyond intellectual brilliance, in unpublished letter, Weil wrote, "All my degrees, all my philosophical trainings, they feel like beautiful cages. There's a knowing in me that has nothing to do with what I've learned and everything to do with what I am." If intellectual mastery feels insufficient, this might be your pattern. Let's look into the boundary crosser, Howard Thurman. When paths converge, Thurman's private notes reveal, "The church has shaped me. Now it feels too small for what's awakening in me. I am not rejecting my faith. I am discovering its hidden breath. Something in me refuses to be contained by any single tradition. If religious structures feel limiting despite your gifts, this might be your pattern." And we have Etty Hillesum, the resilient witness. Finding heaven in hell. Even in Westerbork concentration camp, Hillesum wrote, "There is a really deep well inside me. In it dwells God. Sometimes I am there too." The worse things get outside, the clearer this interior voice becomes. Suffering is excavating something sacred. So if suffering has opened unexpected spiritual doorways for you, this might be your pattern. The next pattern that you may want to look into is the creative transformer Hildegard of Bingen, the illness that heals. During her mysterious illnesses, Hildegard reported, "When my body fails, something else takes over. Vision comes through the cracks. Music emerges from silence. Weaknesses becomes a doorway for forces. I cannot explain, but I must not resist." If limitations have revealed hidden creative potential in you, this might be your pattern. The interior innovator, here's Teresa of Avila, the mystic within walls. Teresa confided to her confessor, "The convent rules say one thing, but the Christ I encounter in prayer says another. I am not rebelling against structure. I am discovering what authentic structure could contain." If you feel confined by tradition, yet you can't abandon it, this might be your pattern. The prophetic bridge comes next. Abraham Joshua Heschel, the rabbi's radical turn. In his personal correspondence, Heschel wrote, "The tradition I inherited is calling me beyond tradition I inherited." The ancestors are whispering, "Go further. Something in me knows this isn't betrayal, but fulfillment." If ancient wisdom speaks to modern challenges, this might be your pattern. Now, if you are not yet seeing any trace of what you're going through from the 8th, then here comes the 9th. The engaged contemplative, Thich Nhat Hanh. Beyond religious identity, during the Vietnam War, Thich Nhat Hanh wrote privately, "My Buddhist training says withdraw from the world. My heart says engage with suffering. I am discovering these aren't contradictions, they are integrations waiting to happen." If you translate spiritual practices for contemporary life, this might be your pattern. The embodied revolutionary Gandhi. How many of you is a follower or a fan of Gandhi? From lawyer to liberator, in his autobiography, Gandhi revealed, "Success as barrister felt like wearing clothes that it didn't fit. Something in me kept saying, your real work isn't in courtrooms. It's in the streets, with the people who have no voice." If your spiritual life seeks visible social expression, this might be your pattern. Here comes the radical integrator, Dorothy Day, the uncomfortable Catholic. Day wrote in her diary, "I love the church, and I'm furious with the church. Something in me refuses to choose between faith and justice. I am being called to live both fully, even when they seem to conflict." If you create tangible expressions of spiritual values, this might be your pattern. And the last pattern that I have documented in Sacred Dissonance, the reconciling presence, Desmond Tutu. From oppression to reconciliation, Tutu shared privately, "The rage in me could destroy everything, but there's another voice saying, your anger is the fuel for healing, not destroying. I'm learning to alchemize fury into forgiveness." If your wounds contain wisdom for collective healing, this might be your pattern. Do you hear it? In each of the story, there's the other voice, the other self of which Napoleon Hill wrote about. It's the same voice that's speaking to you through your sacred dissonance. Now think for a moment and reflect. Which conversations sounds like the one happening inside of you? When people recognize their sacred dissonance pattern, something profound happens. The years of restlessness suddenly make sense. The spiritual displacement finally has meaning. And the other self Napoleon Hill wrote about finally has a documented pathway for expression. You realize now you're not behind in your spiritual formation. You're exactly where your historical model was before the breakthrough. You're not broken. You're not alone. You are following a sacred path that history's greatest contributors have walked. Take this again as an invitation to get your personalized sacred dissonance journey profile by taking the Sacred Dissonance Profiling Quiz. You will discover which historical model matches your other self journey. You will discover the specific stages your figure navigated that you're currently experiencing. You will learn what your recognition of the other self is preparing for you. You will also get the practical roadmap for expressing your authentic gifts using your historical model. Again, the warning. Here's what happened when you get your profile. And for some of you who have taken the exam, who've taken the profiling quiz, you know that this is true. You'll discover that there is a pathway for what Napoleon Hill left hanging. The bridge from recognizing your other self to expressing it authentically. Whether you are now in a space where you're ready to stop fighting your sacred dissonance and start following your historical model, you are in a space where you cannot deny that breakthrough is about to happen. Recognizing that there is an other self left unexpressed, there is an other self that holds immense power, that is not just a voice of hope, but that is a declaration that something is yet to become of you. Something that probably, something inside of you, probably unspoken, probably unnoticed, probably still needing excavation. Nonetheless, you know for a fact that there is hope, that there is a path, that there is a future, because you are not alone and the pathway is already available. I invite you to come back on Saturday for episode 4. And on that episode, I will show you, I will prove to you why sacred dissonance often feels like crisis before it feels like a breakthrough. You will discover why your spiritual struggles might be the most hopeful sign possible, and why displacement is actually an invitation. Why your deepest struggles are preparing you for greatest contribution, just like your historical model. So again, let me invite you to take the Sacred Dissonance Quiz. And if you have already taken the Sacred Dissonance Quiz, you know your profile, then do get a copy of your Sacred Dissonance book. There are actually 3 profiles that closely matches your experience. And probably you are now associating yourself with 1 or 2. But if you read through the entire Sacred Dissonance book, you will see at least 3 profiles that connects, that translate, and explain most of the sacred aches that you are experiencing right now. You know that something is there, but you cannot explain, you cannot express. But now you know which of the historical pathways can be your guide. Now you know that you dive deeper and you will get at least one of the pathways that can lead you to your breakthrough. Once again, this is Master Coach A. Thank you for being part of the entire Cover Up Expose series. This is your history's greatest spiritual contributors. I'm back, and I look forward witnessing you walking through your own sacred dissonance, to excavating your gifts, and finally living your other self fully expressed. I'll see you again on Saturday.